Thanks for tuning in to this session of Beyond Bitcoin's Delegate Edition. Giving potential delegates a unique opportunity to discuss their ideas, plans, and goals to help fortify the BitShares ecosystem. If you're a potential delegate and would like to create your own hangout, then please send your request to beyondbitcoin@gmail.com. Are you finding yourself addicted to our hangouts? Need the next fix? Then please vote for our delegate, fuzzy.beyondbitcoin. Again, that's fuzzy.beyondbitcoin. In addition, you can also check out our new website, beyondbitcoinshow.com, for the latest recordings and events. Now let's join in with our featured delegate.
Welcome to another Beyond Bitcoin Hangout. Today is the 22nd of May, 2015. DataSecurityNode stops by from the BitShares ecosystem to talk about MineBitshares and the power it represents on many fronts. He answers some of the tough questions that we ask and gives us insight into the basic idea of how he plans the operation to move forward. This has been proven thus far to be a very powerful marketing initiative for BitShares ecosystem up to this point. And the Delegate System provides subsidies that enable our proof-of-work mining pool to become the most profitable mining pool of all in existence. This is a very big deal, and if it works out as planned, could just be what BitShares needs to be recognized by the proof-of-work lovers around the world. I hope you enjoy the hangout and look forward to many more in the coverage of this moving forward. DataSecurityNode is joining us today. He's going to be talking about MineBitshares. True to form, we are going to allow Data to give a kind of an introduction and talk a little bit about what he's working on currently, if there are any updates or any progress that he'd like to speak about, and also, of course, open up to community questions. So with that said, I'm going to hand over the torch to you, Data, and let you get this party started.
Thanks a lot, Fuzz. So today I'm going to be talking primarily about why we're making a bid for 6 delegates and making a little bit of BitShares history with going for so many. Just after Bytemaster's show where he talked about the upcoming changes, I feel it's going to be a little bit of time before that happens. So some people have wondered why we're going for so many when there's going to be these changes coming. I think these changes are going to be a while out, so it doesn't really help us in the interim to wait for those changes to be able to make progress on the project. So I'm going to talk about MineBitshares. MineBitshares is a project that was started several months ago by a community member named Nefi, and he created a mining pool, which essentially takes all the miners that are out there in the cryptocurrency industry that are mining for Scrypt or X11, and taking those coins and then pushing them through to BTS rather than paying out in BTC, which is kind of the current industry standard. So what he did was he created that pool, and it was growing, and then it got the attention of Bytemaster when Bit Assets were coming out and BitUSD was coming out. They did an experiment to see if they could attract miners to actually start using BitUSD as the standard for payment. And that was subsidized by Bytemaster for some time, and it was quite a success. It created a whole new way of mining on a pegged asset rather than running on BTC, which fluctuates, and the pool grew. So over time, Nefi unfortunately was called away due to work constraints, and he was no longer able to maintain the pool, and he looked for someone to take it over. And as many of you know, that ended up being me. So with that, we were in the bid for getting a delegate elected, 100% delegate elected, called MineBitshares Reloaded. And the reason for that was for a lot of things. To maintain the bonuses that were being paid out, thanks before to the previously to Bytemaster's subsidies, but also to fund additional development that was much needed for the pool in order for it to grow. So right about that time was the time that I was taking over the pool, and everything looked good. And then we had our market cap fall out from under us. And so suddenly delegate pay was going from somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 a month down to $300. And suddenly we didn't have the resources we needed to be able to make the pool grow and do all these fantastic plans that we had all spent all kinds of time putting together. So for a little while, I kind of looked at the situation, and as I was doing payouts, eventually all the delegate funds ended up getting all sucked up dry really quick, because I was maintaining the same standard as Nethi did previously, and because of our market cap, BitUSDs were super expensive, and so all the delegate pages got just disappeared really quick. And next thing I knew, I was stuck, and I didn't know which direction we were going to go, because the delegate just wasn't providing any funds. The pool doesn't charge any network fees, so there was just no money to move forward. So at that point, I decided, okay, well, I've got a scarcity of resources here. I've got to figure out how we're going to go forward. And at the time, we also had, besides our own delegate, RG Crypto had also gave 100% of his delegate towards this operation. And also with Fuzzy, they gave 12% of their delegate towards this operation. Going forward, I decided I was going to post online and just let everybody know what was going on, because it was, there was clearly a problem, and I couldn't perform on all the things that we were talking about because there were so little funds to work with. So I decided, well, we're gonna work with what we got, and this is how it's gonna go. And it's just gonna go a lot slower, unfortunately. And I put it out there, and then I also decided, you know what? Let's not close all the doors. Let's leave this to the public. Let's see what the community feels should be done. And I put it out there, and then also there was a lot of uncertainty because of all this talk about DPost 2.0 and how delegates are going to be changing and so forth. So it was really questionable about going for another delegate to continue with funding to get this project going. So we posted, and I decided to leave it open to the public, to the community, to decide if they wanted to back that or not, and offered essentially to the community to loan us the money to start additional 100% delegates, which would go towards both the bonuses and the development of the pool, so that we could take it further. There are tens of thousands of miners out there that are mining all kinds of pools, and we have an opportunity to actually take all that crypto that's going on and funnel it right into the BitShares ecosystem. And that's exactly what the bunker mining project aims to do. With that, there's all kinds of benefits, and it's an amazing project in that way, because there's no other project that can do that. So made that bid, and lo and behold, within 24 hours, we had been pledged 36,000 BTS to secure 6 delegates for this project.
360,000, correct?
Yeah, sorry, 360,000. Sorry, missed a zero there.
No, you're fine. And I just wanted to ask you one other thing. You're saying no other project can accomplish this because they don't have Delegate System or any system that allows their ecosystem to sustain itself and projects within it, correct?
That's right. That's it was actually twofold in terms of my statement in that. Number one, other projects in BitShares are not able to do anything like this, where they take all the crypto from the rest of the world and funnel it into BitShares, and also that the Delegate System is giving us the capability to be able to carry the project forward enough until we can capture the market, and then we can let go of those delegate funds. So that's the main player advantage in this, because nobody else can operate this way. They either have an established pool that has basically taken a long time to build, that allows them to be able to operate at profitability, time pool operator that's basically going nowhere and not making any money and can't do anything to offer bonuses or anything like that to attract new miners.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Real quick, sure.
Yeah, and that has to do with the nature of the miners that are coming to the ecosystem. Is there any way to track how much activity, how much they're buying and selling of assets on our blockchain, or whether or not they're just taking the money and running?
Not that I know of.
Well, that's pretty important because that's the essence of what you're bringing to the table. We clearly, you've demonstrated that we're bringing in new users. People are registering, and obviously they're doing something because they're getting paid in BTS assets. But are they exchanging them to BTC directly, or getting out of our ecosystem with the assets that we're giving them as an incentive? That's the key thing, because if they're sticking around, that's of value. If they're not sticking around and they're taking everything out, I'm not so sure that the gain that we see in terms of numbers of users is really all that beneficial to our ecosystem.
Data, can I cut in real quick about this?
Sure. After that, I've got an answer myself. Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing. First off, nothing's guaranteed, but one thing that I've always thought of would be that coupling MineBitshares with something like CryptoSmith or something like that would enable people to buy something like gold or silver, or mine physical gold and silver directly to their doorstep. And another thing would be that psychological changes and behavioral changes happen over time. So really just getting people who are proof of work oriented and have no clue what delegated proof of stake is at all, oriented with the system, and teaching them a little bit about bit assets and all those different things, I think might be a very valuable thing in and of itself.
It would be. We just need to be able to measure how well we're doing that. But yes, if that was happening, I would agree with you, Fuzzy.
Well, that's a good question, and maybe we can see moving forward, because my thought on the matter was you would gradually see people mining something like gold and silver to their doorstep, and then saying, well, I've got all this gold and silver and no place to store it. Why don't I hold it in bit gold and bit silver? Because I've already found that I can automatically trade bit gold and bit silver at any given time for real gold and silver. But
I think that's a good idea, but I think that the returns are so small now that's not possible at this stage, and maybe that'll happen over time, but we haven't seen evidence of that yet.
Sure, and those are good points, and I guess that's something that we'll have to take into consideration. Data, what were your thoughts on that?
Going forward, basically our bid for these 6 delegates are to fund the development of the pool. Some of you know from private conversations I've had, because I haven't posted all of this publicly about where it is we're taking things, but some of what we're going to be doing is going to incorporate user-issued assets in how the pool operates, which means I'm not going to give away the farm in describing to you exactly how it's going to work, because it is completely revolutionary and innovative to the crypto space. But essentially what you're talking about in terms of how much is going to stay in the system, our system that we're going to be introducing is going to keep it all in the system instead of having to cash out. So what you're concerned with is, taking your money and run. The fact of the matter is that if they have to pay for leasing rigs and things like that to mine our pool, they have to convert to BTC to do that. And that's just because of the way the market is now. There's no avoiding that. But in the new system, which we are looking to develop, that we need the funds to develop, that would not be the case anymore. What would happen is that money will stay in the ecosystem, and that money will actually further funnel into the bit assets, the multiple bit assets within the BitShares ecosystem, rather than having to be converted to BTC. So basically, instead of having all of those funds that are mined pushed through our system and then converted again and then pushed back out, we will be creating a sort of a proxy buffer that is going to allow us to be able to have those miners want to keep more of their money inside of the system while increasing the hashing power of the mining pool.
Have you thought about using the user-issued assets in a manner that provides the subsidy, where you're actually you're looking for a source of revenue here to fund basically the subsidy to the miners to come here in the first place? Is there a way that they can maybe participate in the pool by paying a fee in some manner that's not onerous, but collectively will be maybe a lottery or something like that, where individuals in the pool get paid from the selling of user-issued assets, something of that nature?
I can't exactly answer that directly without giving away the farm. However, in terms of where it's going, it is, like I said, going to be centered around the use of user-issued asset, which will be largely powering most of the mining operations. So people will be able to purchase this user-issued asset that will have to be purchased through BitShares and be able to partake in the mining in our mining operations that to turn that for a profit.
Okay, I guess I was just I'm not sure. I was just wondering whether or not there would be enough possible sales through such user-issued assets to actually reduce the number of delegates you would need for moving forward. That was my idea.
Yeah, if your question is if this is all about how long are we going to be on the delegate feeding train, the purpose of and all of our objectives are to actually remove the delegates as quickly as possible. It's while the funds initially are essential, the business plan is to get off of them, primarily because number one, we have these changes that are coming down. Number two, it makes for volatility within the business case, because delegates can be voted out at any time. That doesn't make these funds guaranteed, whereas a working business plan and a working business model that operates with proper cost measures and profit margins is a sustainable model, which is where we need to take this pool. The pool, unfortunately, is very small now. It doesn't turn a profit. It runs at a substantial loss right now, to myself personally at the moment. But with the plan that we have in place to get further development done, the plan would implement better mining techniques, more modern techniques. We'd be able to increase our profitability, be able to utilize user-issued assets, and then of course the other plans to integrate with CryptoSmith to allow us to be able to actually mine for real gold and real silver for our users. Then we definitely have a very competitive offering within the mining space. And the mining space, I understand, you look at the future and it's like, well, mining is nothing but a waste and and there's this kind of this attitude that the crypto sphere and mining is a wasteful type of thing. The fact of the matter is that there's tons of hardware out there and people are still doing it today. Yeah. I don't see it going away anytime soon. And the MineBitshares project really was a project to bridge the gap and to bring together the crypto space for BitShares and for the proof of work space. So that said, I'm running out of time here. Essentially, we created this bid for 6 delegates. The money would be going towards these bonuses initially to attract miners to mine our pool. As the pool grows, then of course that increases our capability to have higher payouts. And then the other portion would be going towards the further development, which I alluded to earlier, where we would be integrating user-issued assets. We would be creating a much more competitive pool. It would be self-sustaining, and then we'd be able to carry the project forward.
My thoughts on it, and I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on it, because we've talked a little bit about this, and you mentioned, of course, you want to get off of the delegate feeding train, like you said. One of the reasons why I've backed this so strongly from the very beginning was that I thought that we need to have that this is a very successful thing. RG Crypto is very familiar with marketing, and he's a very intelligent guy. as it is, not even given his experience in marketing, but he has tried marketing with his delegate, and he came to the conclusion that MineBitshares was so much more successful than he was, that he was banging his head against the wall before and felt that there was no real avenue to really effectively market BitShares like he would like to do. And MineBitshares accomplished it. So that's why he decided that he was going to give 100% of his delegate fees to this. Now, because of that, that's one of the reasons why I agreed once he showed me the numbers couldn't lie, right? But because of that, I think it's great that you want to get away from the delegates, but I'll always maintain this, and this is why I came out in support of this early on and said we need to be bold and get as many delegates as we can logically get in place to ensure that this is going to be successful, right? And because of that, I personally have nothing, like if we were going to have 6 delegates that are in for 10 years, if it brings in a bunch of users, then that's great. If it provides a bunch of liquidity, that's great. There's so many pluses to this that it's hard for me to see a reason why we should be really in a big hurry. I'm personally of the opinion that we should have these delegates in place and the funding in place as a pool that you can guarantee that this is there in a bad situation, even like if the market cap substantially drops, or if there's something that goes on that makes it so difficult to keep the pool mining profitably over all these other pools, that we can subsidize it at a moment's notice. Now, the one issue that I see with that, and I'm going to go and dig this up, but I really do, I feel this is an important thing to cover, and it's not an attack or anything like that. It's because I want this to be politically acceptable to the community as well, because this is unprecedented. Even at these market caps, we all know that this current market cap, the delegates aren't paying out like they were at 60 million market cap, right? But there are 6 delegates, and some people don't like that. Some people will say the developers of this chain aren't even getting that, right? They won't understand. But something that and that's what I foresee becoming a partial issue to what I would like to see, which is ensuring that we have this increasing pool of funding that we can use in any hard times. But what I would like to see personally, and what I think a lot of people would like to see, would be some way of it being put into the hands of a larger group of people to make that decision when the time comes, which to me in the end would be, you would have that there. Of course, you'd be able to achieve your results of, we no longer need that, but it would still be there if it was ever necessary. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, and there could be something like, it might, I originally thought of multi-sig, but there's so many options I'm sure that we can think through that might offer an opportunity for the community or trusted members of the community to say, hey, we need this, we need to vote for them, or we need to find some way, a mechanism of you getting them where people also feel safe that this pool is not just controlled by one person, whether he's trusted or not by the community, right?
One thing that comes to mind is the issue of the business plan. You mentioned the business plan before. Now, I haven't been intimately involved with the MineBitshares project, so if you've disclosed this elsewhere, then by all means, my point is somewhat moot here. But I would like to see what your perspective is of the future and how you see things phased in, phased out, what the funds from these 6 delegates are going to be going for initially, and how you see that progression. And in a business plan would be a good way to present that. If you can point me to that, that would be great.
I'll link to it. There's actually a Google Docs that was put together when RG Crypto came on board that gives an outline of what our short-term goals and our long-term goals are. That was when we first started the project. The plans that we work on now with the user-issued assets were always part of our vision to eventually go there. The details of that have been hashed out, no pun intended, to with the community and various contributors and people who are interested in the project that understand the industry, so that we can better refine the parameters of how it might operate. So I will link that in the forum to our delegate bid. So if you go to vote.bunkermining.com, you'll be able to find the thread for this entire bid for mining. In terms of addressing the number of delegates, the way I see it is this. The market cap, the way it is, forces us into this situation where we are bidding on 6 because there just isn't enough funds coming from 1, 2, or 3. So given this situation and given with the DPost 2.0 coming about, I see that eventual reality being that all these delegates that we have now are all going to get wrapped up into one, and or even not even wrapped up into one. Some of them will just be put down. Fuzzy, you talked about having those funds there. We wouldn't necessarily have them there. I mean, the operation of the pool and how we plan it really is meant to work on a buffer rather than working reactively to everything that's going on. So we would want to have a front load of funds operating the pool in an effective manner rather than always running at zero the way the pool runs now. So we would have everything well in place, and then when the time comes, we would take what's left of our delegates that are in the worker space, the way that Bytemaster described it earlier, and we would just cancel those worker contracts, I guess. And then as far as the witness space is concerned, we would also just cancel whatever additional spaces we have. Though, as far as delegates go, you can take a look at, we do currently run MineBitshares Reloaded, all the other MineBitshares delegates, and you can see that we're green bars right across on BitShares blockchain. We're some of the best managed delegates out of the 101. Thank you very much. So that said, though, I understand the concern with that much, but even when you add it all up, it comes to 6-7% of the total delegates in the 101. In terms of other people being involved, the way that we're designing the system is going to be designed in such a way that there has to be checks and balances, not necessarily for concerns of control, but more so for concerns of security. Because there's going to be a lot of money moving around, or cryptocurrency anyway, then those aren't necessarily the same. Because there's a lot of that going on, there's going to be some checks and balances in place systemically to ensure that that's secure. In terms of others being involved, there are some opportunities, I guess, where partners who are operating with our operation could potentially come in on that. As long as so anybody who's familiar with the operations and familiar with the industry would be very helpful in that space. So, and then you also talked about the marketing. Yes, this is a very strong marketing engine. And if you look at where MineBitshares is in the forums, you'll find it under the marketing section of all sections. Because it is such a strong marketing driver, it brings in new users. With that, we're increasing transactions through the network. We're increasing the market capitalization, because once we get to the levels where this is actually a profitable venture, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars worth of every kind of crypto out of there funneling into BitShares. So you're talking, there's a potential for us to even get to a point where we could double the current bit asset volume that is taking place in BitShares today, just with what we're doing with this project.
And
so
potentially more.
Oh yeah, we could go much further. The thing about it, the thing is that the entire mining industry is it's just, even though it's just going to continue to grow. Honestly, there are still new coins being introduced all the time. You see all these other projects alongside BitShares that are introducing mining. Ethereum, you can now mine. So there's always going to be this element to where people can point all their hardware to provide proof of work as part of a lot of these crypto networks. So this project really is to connect that bridge and make it so that all the miners are going to prefer to point their mining towards the bunker mining operation so that they can actually get their payouts in bit assets or real gold or BTS for that matter.
The interesting thing to me is one of the problems for a lot of people who mine altcoins, for tax purposes in the US, and unfortunately we have to recognize that people who don't pay their taxes can have people with guns come to their houses. So if you're mining for altcoins, at the time that you mine them, you have to log the date and time and everything. And the value of the altcoin at that moment is what you're taxed on. It doesn't matter if the coin goes down in value substantially like most altcoins do. So they rely on pump and dumps to keep profitable, which hurts a lot of people who are new to Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency environment. So I really see this as a positive feedback loop that it creates as well, because if people can now mine bit assets, that's something that's stable that they can say, okay, if I mine BitUSD today and I hold on to it, or even bit gold and bit silver, the likelihood of me holding that and it going down substantially like an altcoin would if I held on to it is far lower. So I can be assured that if I'm paying taxes on this, I'm not going to actually come out in the red for just having a mining rig running, right? And that's really, to me, one of the really powerful aspects that, yeah, sure, you can mine Ethereum, but is Ethereum going to be non-volatile? Can they guarantee that whenever you mine Ethereum that it's going to not go down and you're not going to have to pay taxes in a way that, these are things that I think are really important. What MineBitshares offers, it's really huge,
I'd be really curious. I don't know, I don't know if the IRS offers a database where you can look into records like this, but I'm curious to see exactly how many miners have ever paid taxes.
Well, and that's a good question, and let's face it.
I know that wasn't really your point, but I'm just, as a side note.
No, and you're right, and the ideologue in my mind is saying, heck yeah to that, but at the same time, people with guns come into your house is no joke, So I guess we'll have to see where that goes. But one of the things, Data, that I was thinking in terms of this pool of funds was, at current market cap, these delegates don't mean a whole lot. But if, let's say, BitShares goes careening to 100 million market cap as soon as this starts becoming effective, I see people getting upset and saying, what's going on with these funds? Who's in control of them? There's 6 delegates. Sure, this is a big deal and it's effective, but there's also going to be people who are really upset about it. So the angle that I'm coming from is actually really more protecting it and wanting to make sure that it's going to be protected from a number of different potential attack vectors and negative circumstances that might arise that are unforeseen right now. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's almost a really good idea to have like an insurance fund to ensure that this remains profitable, because despite the business model, of course, is very important as well, but having that as kind of like a black swan event fund would be a very valuable thing. Don't you agree?
Well, any business wants to have funds available to it in case of an emergency. That's a no-brainer.
So I guess the reason why I bring it up is, how could we manage all of those potential things that I'm seeing? And do you agree that will happen, or do you disagree? I mean, that's something that everybody, I guess, should know too, and I should know, and it's kind of important.
I'm not clear on exactly what it is you agree or disagree. I disagree that we'll come to a point where we're suddenly just going to have all these funds that we don't have any use for.
Sure.
I mean, once we get to the amount of development we have to do is tremendous. Just getting us to the next stage. I've been quoted over 10 BTC for the work to be done, and that's just for stage 1. Once we get into stage 2 and 3. We're talking about much, much more, and all of this is an investment to go towards creating a new system that, again, will drive the transactions, will drive more capitalization back into BitShares. The unique thing about this bid, like Thom mentioned, is that all the money flows right back to BitShares. Like the payouts that we're doing and the bonuses, it's all flowing right back into BitShares. And in one way or another, it's kind of paying forward. So in terms of the delegate bids, though, I think I've mentioned it a few times now in our in response to that our intention is that the only reason we have this many is because of the requirements now. And if market cap goes up, great. The possibilities of that I don't see happening in the near future. Maybe when Depos 2.0 comes out, we'll see that happen. And as I actually detailed on forums, what we would do then is that we would change our bid, and then we would reduce ourselves down to 1. And hopefully by then we've gotten the system in place to where the pool itself is profitable. We have to scale to such a level where we have a substantial amount of mining taking place. And I do know some miners in the US. There's some big time miners out there who are generating $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month from mining just Bitcoin. So I'm pretty sure that they're probably getting on the IRS's radar just for some kind of whatever activity they're taking, because they're spending it. So it's definitely getting the attention of the feds. And when they come down on them, they want to know how that all happened. So yeah, there is definitely a space for the larger players that would certainly be worthwhile for them. For the the teenager in the basement who has his little hash miner and or his GPU going, not a big deal. But for the bigger institutional players, and there are quite a few, that's definitely something worthwhile. If somebody really wants to put their money into this. The thing about mining right now is that, and with leasing rigs and things like that, there's an opportunity for people to buy the space to, or buy the power to then direct it at pools and be able to create a return of a profit. So for them to calculate all that and then be able to report it is challenging in the way it is. With what we're doing with the user-issued asset, we'd be creating an ecosystem where you buy this asset and then it's going to continue to grow within your profile. And as that continues to happen, the bid assets that the system has to purchase to collateralize the operation will continue to grow within BitShares as well. So I have to wrap this up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm running out of time. But again, you guys want to continue to discuss, that's great. I really want to urge everybody to vote. Go to vote.bunkermining.com and you'll see our bid for the 6 delegates on BitShares Talk. And hopefully we can get these into the 101 and then be able to carry this project forward and help BitShares grow.
Just before you leave, one thing that I think hinders people a lot of the time from voting for these projects is a difficulty utilizing the GUI client. So I would actually let you know we have a server that we've now put together that would allow you to walk people through how to go through the process. So if you'd like to set something up, and this is actually to anybody who's running a delegate or a worker, which delegates will eventually turn into, even all 6 of these delegates would turn into workers in the new proposal later on. Please feel free to let us know, because this is there for you, so you can actually have a large group of people join up, and it would be more like kind of like a seminar kind of walkthrough to show people how to vote. And I really believe that there are a lot of people who could utilize, who would join up and vote if they just had somebody showing them how, so in a safe way where they didn't feel like their funds were at risk. So with that said, thank you for coming on and being open with us, and thank you for taking some questions and answering them. I know all this stuff, you can't tell us everything, but I look forward to more updates in the future. This is one of the projects that I see as like a really bright shining light in our ecosystem, and there's a lot of questions, of course, and it's going to be kind of tough in some with respect to the politics of it in some ways, but I think these are questions that we need to ask, and I'm glad that you're open to it, man. Just we'll find the answer. We just need to ask the questions and really focus on solutions, but you seem focused on solutions, so let's get these bit assets flowing into the hands of Bitcoiners, baby.
Exactly. Thanks so much for having me on the show, Fuzz, and we'll talk to you later.
Well, this was your show, so thank you for joining up, man.
Thanks.
Thanks, Data.